Okay, thank you, Ihsan. Uh, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and good morning to uh, our friends in Europe and in Argentina. So uh, today uh, we will have the biogas workshop uh, for the first time under the title of Lesson Learned from Biogas Development in the Emerging Economies. I thank you to our distinguished guests, speakers, and also all participants for joining us today. Uh, I'd like to greet first to our distinguished guest from Ministry of ESDM, Ibu Andrea Febi Misna and Bapak Trois Diri Susendi. And I also would like to greet Dr. Johannes Anhorn from GIZ. And I'd like to say hello to our speakers, Miss Dr. Ing Muhammad Abdul Khalik from Indonesia, and then Mr. Raymond Sheh from Malaysia, Dr. Pruk Anggarangsi from Thailand, and then Jorge Hilbert from Argentina, and then Mr. Alexis Zasepins and Vitalis Komasilovs from Latvia. And I'd like to also greet Ibu Elizabeth from RDI. Thank you all for joining with us on this online workshop. So this workshop is the first one from Resilience Development Initiatives under the Digital Global Biogas Cooperation, or DiBiCoo. It's a program funded by the European Union Research and Innovative Program. And there are 13 institutions, as you can see in the slides. There are lots of symbols and logos across 9 countries that are currently involved in this research. And I am Niken, one of the RDI Senior Fellow, and I will be the moderator for today's event. So because this is an online workshop, I would like to start briefly by explaining on the content and the agenda of the workshop. We will have welcoming remarks from Ibu Andrea Febi or Mr. Trois from the Ministry of ESDM, and continued by Dr. Johannes Anhorn from GIZ. And after the remarks, we will have first photo session with all the guest speakers and participants. And after that is the main event of this workshop. We will have 5 presentations from the speakers. And after all the 5 speakers present and share their lesson learned, we will have a discussion with all the participants in the breakout room. Okay, so that would be the agenda of this workshop today. So this event is motivated by the fast extension of biogas technology development in recent years, and it has proved the utility of the biogas plants in providing a clean fuel for cooking and power generation. And it also has the benefit of reducing the environmental pollution and reducing the significant volume of waste. Yes, however, there are several barriers in developing this biogas technology. There are several challenges, and actually, these are the main points that are going to be shared by our five speakers. So if you are practicing and having some questions regarding this biogas technology development, this is your time to ask the speakers on the best solution and their best experience in developing this kind of technology. Before I continue to the next agenda, I would like to explain the rules of conduct on this online workshop. So I'd like to ask everybody to rename with your full name and institution, and then you can fill out the attendance list. Uh, we will paste it also in the chat box, or if you are joining from the YouTube live, uh, you can find it also on the YouTube live chat. And please fill in also the questionnaire on the link provided in the chat box. And for all the participants, please do not turn on your microphone, but you are allowed to turn on your video during the presentation session. And if you'd like to give question, you can write it down on the chat box, or you can ask directly later to the speaker during the breakout room session. For those who need to access the presentation materials, we have provided a Google Drive link. You can access it on the link later paste on the chat box also. And for your information, we record this online meeting and workshop, and also we stream it live to the YouTube. Okay, I guess so we all clear about the code of conduct of this online workshop, and don't forget to enjoy this event. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Ibu Andrea Febi Misna from the Ministry of ASDM, or probably is she here, or Mr. Troyes will give the
Okay.
welcoming remarks. Okay, Pak Troyes. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Bu Niken. Just a moment. My voice is clear or not?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, because my position in the region of the Serang. Okay. To the Honorable Director of Research Development Initiative, Ibu Elizabeth. To the Honorable Senior Project Manager GZ, and then to the honorable all speakers, moderator, and related stakeholder who has concern on biogas development, distinguished participant and guests. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good afternoon.
Waalaikumsalam.
First of all, let us gratefully praise God the Almighty for His mercy and blessing that have enabled all of us to attend the regional biogas workshop with the theme lesson learned from biogas development in the emerging economies. I would also like to express my appreciation to the RDI, Resilient Development Initiative, Digital Global Biogas Corporation, and Asia Pacific Biogas Alliance that have prepared this workshop. It is a great pleasure to deliver the welcoming remarks at this constructive and essential event to learn from other country experience about biogas implementation. Indonesia is the largest national economy in the Southeast Asia with the population growth rate, according to the Central Bureau of Statistics, is increased by 1.25% for the years. This is comparable with the increase in energy needs, which are currently predominantly supplied by fossil fuel. Therefore, a solution is needed to overcome this problem by finding renewable energy potential to meet human needs. As the only renewable energy that can serve as electricity generation and also non-electricity use, bioenergy can play a significant role in fulfilling to the requirement. However, in the use of bioenergy, we need to pay attention to feedstock sustainability as the primary key to the success of the energy production. The commitment of the government of Indonesia to develop new and renewable energy is shown in government regulation number 79 year 2014 on the national energy policy. Based on the regulation, the share of new and renewable energy from the total energy mix will increase significantly to the 20 sorry to 9 sorry to 23% by 2025 and even more ambitious to reach 31% by 2050. Biogas and other bioenergy sources are expected to contribute 10% of the total renewable energy share. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the General Plan for the National Energy or WEN has started the utilization of biogas annually. Biogas development program consists of biogas power plant, domestic biogas, communal biogas, and also the bio-CNG. In 2025, the bioenergy power plant, including biogas power plant, is targeted to contribute 5.5 gigawatt, and the another biogas program is targeted to contribute almost the 500 million meter cubic. To achieve the target, the government has provided incentive and simplifies the procedure to accelerate the development of biogas. Currently, from the total of 1,900 installed capacity of bioenergy power plant, biogas power plant has reached about 120 megawatts. This number is still far from our target of the reaching 5.5 gigawatt. Therefore, we highly encourage all the stakeholders to contribute to developing bioenergy power plant in Indonesia, mainly biogas power plant. Besides biogas energy plant, there are also the domestic biogas program and also the communal biogas program. Up to March 2020, Ministry of Energy and other energy agencies have built more than 4,800 units of domestic biogas and through the government budget. Ministry of Energy has built 38 units of the communal biogas in Islamic boarding school in 10 provinces. Despite the achievement, several challenges are slowing down biogas development, such as sustainability of feedstock, lack of funding and incentive, and lack of coordination among related stakeholders. To tackle this bottleneck, we will improve coordination and cooperation with the related stakeholders to attract investment and do a joint study to accelerate biogas development in Indonesia. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I hope through this meeting, the speakers and also the participants can share their knowledge and experience related to regulation, finance, technical, and other aspects of the implementation of the biogas. I believe the sharing session will develop recommendation and input for the government and all the stakeholders in the developing the biogas energy sector. Finally, I hope this forum will be successful and fruitful. Thank you for your attention and participation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Royce, for your welcoming remarks. Next is your turn, Dr. Johannes Anhorn. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Ya, selamat sore teman-teman di Indonesia. Nama saya Johannes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Ya, terima kasih atas nama GIZ, Coordinator DiBiCoo Project di Jerman. My name is Johannes. Anhon. I'm the lead coordinator of the DiBiCoo project. I would give you a very brief introduction into the project. It's, let's say, set up, the background funding comes from the European Union under the Horizon 2020 program. And I will give you a very short intro on the objectives and some of the main ideas that we have in facilitating this project. Next slide, please. Yeah, so in the past days, it was quite important to highlight what actually DiBiCoo is and what it is not, in order to make sure that we meet the expectations of you as stakeholders participating in this webinar, and in order to make sure that yeah, your expectations, what you think the project can do for you and how it will support the market, the biogas market in Indonesia, is actually clear, and so we're basically fit together in a way. So it's a business engagement and a market development initiative with the purpose to bridge biogas stakeholders from Europe and implementers in the field. In the field means in Indonesia, but also in our other partner countries. So especially technology providers, project developers, but also financial institutions and certainly decision makers. We will develop a platform that will serve as a marketplace and knowledge hub. Marketplace meaning we want to have a virtual meeting place, a virtual place to engage with European companies, stakeholders, and bridge this gap of what we all now experience during the Corona crisis, the COVID crisis, where most of these larger physical events, fairs, big conferences are not possible. So the chances to meet companies, discuss with them project opportunities are currently very limited. And we think while setting up the DiBiCoo platform, we can facilitate that process and help you to meet and get introduced to the latest European technology providers. We support the creation of large-scale business cases, pilot projects. Therefore, we have already launched the application phase, and the selection phase has been finished. So we have the demo and follower cases that we are going into more intense discussions over the upcoming months and weeks. Yet, it's very important that the DiBiCoo project itself, as it's more or less a research project and a facilitation project of business opportunities, that we do not provide funding, let's say. So next slide, please. So it's not a fund or a financial support program, but comes more along with support on the cooperation scheme, facilitates exchange, the platform I already mentioned, the demo cases, and therefore also has the aim to inform policy, as we have very successful European policies on renewable energies and biogas in improving the market conditions. So we are also aiming to support that kind of activity in Indonesia. Next slide, please. So as mentioned earlier, we have 5 partner countries, Indonesia, and then we are also looking at Ethiopia, Ghana, South Africa, and Argentina. And I'm very happy that we have our colleagues here in the call as well from INTA, from Argentina, who will present later on. So you can go to the next slide. I'm not the expert on the biogas market in Indonesia, but I'd like to highlight 4 elements in a way. There's One is there's plenty of resources available, and I'm starting from the back end, number 4. There's plenty of resources which provide sufficient and very interesting, from a biogas point of view, feedstock. There's also a lot of human resources and operational skills available, yet I think capacity management, capacity development in that regard on managing, maintaining, but also doing the operational biochemical analysis, etc., might still need some strengthening, which all can happen within the framework of the DiBiCoo project. In general, on the market conditions, we had done some preliminary analysis in the project that biogas in general is less prioritized in Indonesia, which I think is a situation that we cannot directly influence, but for sure have some secondary or contribution to influence that in a way that we show best cases, best available technologies, how well this technology is able to cater the energy needs. And for sure, we have quite some experience in Europe on feed-in tariff models, different ways of subsidizing, different ways of supporting private investment and private funding also, which we think is quite an interesting case. In terms of the competition, the high capital cost for biogas development is something that hinders competition in a way. There's always these risks towards biogas component suppliers in order to have a good competitive situation, and especially the importing or exporting of technologies is kind of not a bottleneck, but it's sometimes where also national interests, international interests, and so on are in a kind of a situation where much can be done in order to facilitate the import of best available state-of-the-art technology, while still having components delivered and building up the competences and capacities to do maintenance and do also the operational part, which is often not part of any kind of exporting activities. So I think that's still a very contested or area where a lot of discussion is ongoing, and I think we have started these discussions already within the DiBiCoo project, and will continue to do so and see how much of the knowledge that has been acquired in Europe, best available technologies, but also from our partner countries, can be adopted in the Indonesian biogas market. Because this is something that is very important from my point, and that's the last point, and then I'm finished. That we do have these partnerships with the other partner countries, not only as a bidirectional understanding of, yes, there is European technology, and that's very important to use as an import. But we also have experience in very similar market conditions in Ghana, in South America, South Africa, or in Ethiopia, which face similar issues, similar constraints, let's say, in the uptake of biogas in the market. And I think there's a lot to learn from also those partners there, how they managed, what kind of legislation they are struggling with. And we see that there are more people who can give some insights on these market conditions, which are already part of this conversation. So thanks again for joining, and I'm really looking forward to the discussion.
Yes, thank you, Pak Johannes. I think we will have a photo session now. If you can turn on your camera. and I will count 2, 3 for the host to take our pictures. Yes. Everybody ready? Okay. 1, 2, and smile. Okay. Has it taken yet from the host? Can you confirm? One more time. Yes. The second page. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Thank you. I hope
Bunikan, I think you're muted.
okay. Yes. Sorry. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to invite the first speaker then, since we are a bit tight on schedule. We have Dr. Muhammad Abdul Khalik from BPPT Indonesia. He's the chairman of Indonesia Biogas Association. Pak Khalik, are you ready, Pak? Yes, still mute.
Okay, thank you.
20 minutes. The time is yours.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Guten Morgen, Johannes Anhorn, nach Deutschland. Bleib gesund, bleib stark in dieser Zeit. Thank you very much, Pak Troyes, on behalf of Andreas Webi. Thank you for support to Biogas Association or Biogas Society in Indonesia. Thank you for support us in implementation of biogas technology. Thank you, Raymond Cech, Professor Pruk Anggarangsi, George Hilbert, and others. Also, thank you for RDI for the invitation. I have to present biogas development in Indonesia. I am Abdul Khalik, Chairman of Indonesian Biogas Association, and I am also Director of Center for Environmental Technology at the Agency for the Assessment and Application of Technology. Yes, just short introduction. I've studied in Germany for my bachelor and master thesis. I've done diploma and master thesis about biogas process, conversion of organic waste to biogas, pretreatment and process control development. I'm active in the Asia Pacific Biogas Alliance and also in Indonesian Biogas Association. There's some activity, and I'm also director of Center for Environmental Technology, and that is about our experience. German-Indonesia cooperation, biogas plant with slaughterhouse from slaughterhouse wastewater 2002 finished, and biogas plant with wastewater from bioethanol plant 2007, and the last was the biogas plant, Pome biogas power plant in Riau, and also biogas plant and utilize it for co-firing, and the company can sell the kernel shell. Other biogas activity from our center, that is from utilize the wastewater from tofu industry. I visit October 2020, that is already 10 years, and the biogas plant is still in operation. That was our research, utilized or treat organic waste from traditional market, and they use the biogas for cooking, and they use also the digestate for compost and fertilizer. I would like to talk about the potential of biogas in Indonesia. We have about 900 palm oil mills, and about 10% have already biogas plant, and the potential is still huge. 90%, about 90% is open for you to build, to invest a biogas plant in this area. And there are also other wastewater or organic waste, cassava wastewater, wastewater from agro-industry processing and so on, and also from water hyacinth, and also from organic waste. That is just some data about 40 to 60% of organic municipal solid waste are organic waste. That is also theoretically a potential for biogas production from it. And from Jakarta, the volume of municipal solid waste is about 7,000 or more, 7,500 tons per day, and totally in Indonesia 60 million tons per year. I put it from the presentation from Pak Trois. That is the Biogas Development Plan stated by the Ministry for Energy and Natural Mineral Resource. And I come to the small and medium scale biogas plant. That is also again from Pak Trois. I put it simply from Pak Trois about the map of the biogas plant all for the Indonesia parts. We have so far about 50,000, but if we compare to India, 65,000 per year. That is India. Not comparable with us, but this should encourage us to do more, or to do more than usual. And that is just example of small-scale biogas plant in Indonesia, from manure, from tofu industry, I visit as mentioned before. And that is from organic waste or from manure and so on. That is RDIxDiBiCoo members, Bu Sri Wahyuni, he produced this small-scale biogas unit, biogas with all of the part. There is also other from other RDIxDiBiCoo members, from Pak Andreas Wiji, small-scale biogas digester. And that is from user side, Pak Sulistyo, he is a farmer. Not only farmer, but he has also other job, but he has some activity. And from manure, he produce biogas, and the digestate he utilize it as fertilizer. And this is from Pak Sonson. He is active in producing mechanical equipment, mechanical device for composting, for biogas, and also for in the agriculture purpose. That is our development project I mentioned before. The soon come to visit and to see and to learn and so on. I come to industrial scale biogas plant. That is biogas Pome Biogas Power Plant built by BPT in cooperation with PTPN5, state-owned company in Riau. its capacity 700 kilowatt electricity, or almost 1 megawatt. There's another, there was in with the covered lagoon type, and this is in STR reactor. They use it for co-firing, that they can sell the palm oil and the cell. And that is from point of view, from the PTPN5 point of view, from the partners, there's a type of biogas plant, and they are now active in building of next biogas plant for co-firing, and the expected such revenue or benefits from it. And that is the milestone from 2012 till 2022. They would like to have all biogas plant in their palm oil mills. There's another example of Pome biogas plants. That's another type of biogas plant from another resource that is from Menu in West Java in Subang. And it is from agro-industrial wastewater, from cassava processing, from pineapple processing, and so on. And they are happy to have investment in this biogas technology. I come to biogas upgrading and bio-CNG plant. That is the first project I know, what I know in Indonesia, from the PT Dharma Satya Nusantara in cooperation with PT Raja Gas Risma, and raw biogas is 1,000 meter cubic per hour, and part of them are utilized for power generation, and part of them they upgrade to biomethane and compress it to bio-CNG. And this is the plan, the reactor, the biogas plant, reactor and biogas handling, and biogas engine, and also powerhouse and office. And this is the biogas upgrading and handling, and also utilization of bio-CNG. Future research and development, I think important is to try to do co-degasation POME and EFP to compensate if the POME go down, and we can put it EFP in it. And for the utilization of biogas, I mentioned before, for electricity production, power generation, and also upgrading to biogas, biomethane, for vehicle, for industry, and so on. And also co-firing in boiler, so they can sell the biomass to, for example, for power generation in other place, because the cell is transportable compared to biogas. Biogas is a little bit bulky. And important also the research and implementation of utilization of degasted as solid and liquid fertilizer. Important also the pre-treatment, because it's important part of the whole biogas process. And for bio-CNG, that is some infrastructure is exists. The existing infrastructure, for example, the gas station, and also there are also gas vehicles, and also distribution alternative of GNG, gas pipeline, and so on. Theoretically, we can use it for bio-CNG also. Just last I would like to show you the research and development and biogas upgrading, that is the water scrubber technology, in cooperation between ITB and Sawit Fund, Palm Fund, and this is the construction of this plant that is in Trantam in PTPN 5 in cooperation with BPPT and also PTPN 5. I showed you before the covered lagoon biogas plant. There is one another group from UGM in Yogyakarta, Dr. Engineer Teguh Arianto, Deutsch Absolvent, German alumni from Erlangen, and he developed nanoporous carbon from palm kernel shell for biogas upgrading. Actually, not only for biogas upgrading, but in this case, for biogas upgrading, the experiment is successful. We can see here that they can spirit the biomethane and CO2, and that is the fabrication of the pressure swing adsorption. And just to show you for Indonesian friends, and also maybe in this region, I just show the international development of biogas project and bio-LNG. That is the report of EBA, European Biogas Association. The most promising areas of growth in the sector is the production of bio-LNG and bio-GNG. And I visited 2016 in Germany, the vehicle gas station for vehicles from biogas, and this is also another utilization of biomethane. It's injected in gas pipeline. This is another example of utilization of biomethane, biogas for truck, biogas for bus, and also bio-LNG bunkering vessel, and also ship with utilized bio-LNG as fuel. And also bio-LNG is also the research and development of this topic is ongoing. Also the Shell, another example of bio-LNG in Germany and also other European countries. That is to provoke my friends in Indonesia and other maybe Malaysia and Thailand and so on. We can also do the same thing in this direction, maybe not yet, possibly in the next years. Thank you very much. Maybe we can discuss later. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Pak Abdul Khalik, for your interesting presentation regarding the biogas development in Indonesia from tofu waste, palm kernel, as well as the potential development of the bio-LNG and bio-CNG. And so, since we are a bit tight on the time, I'd like to move on to our next speaker, Mr. Raymond Cheh. If the organizer can mute the one of the Mr. Raymond Cheh.
Yes, hi everyone.
Yeah, it appears that you have some noise from your device, probably.
How is it now?
Still.
There's some noise.
Yes.
It's strange. Testing.
There's some like machinery noise.
Okay. How about it now?
we still hear it.
I'm surprised. You see that you got machinery noise in the background. You hear? Sound. Okay, my apologies. I don't know why.
Are you listening to the YouTube live right now? Sometimes
No,
interfere
I'm not
too.
on the I'm not on YouTube live. Yeah.
Okay,
Is it better now?
so it's a little bit better, but you still have to talk louder, I think. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So,
All right, I'll give it a try. Please stop me if it becomes very distracting. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. A very good day to everyone. I believe there are many people from all over the world who are also in. Today, I'm just going to share a bit about the renewable energy industry from the perspective of biogas developer, which is my company. I do apologize. I tried to get my competitors to also submit some of their photos and some information, but I think they are very secretive about it. So unfortunately, a lot of what you're going to hear today is going to come from or pictures you see are projects that my company has done. So we are not trying to sell our technology or trying to promote ourselves, but yeah, we do want to share a bit about the what are the things that are happening in and around Malaysia with regards to biogas development. So can I have the next slide, please? Okay, very quickly, I'll just jump into what Malaysia is doing right now with regards to the renewable energy sector in general. As you can see, this is a very simplified graph that I've done. So the consumers will pay the electricity bill with an addition of 1.6%. I think this is quite what some countries are also doing. I believe Thailand is doing this as well. So the money goes to the national energy distributor, which is Tenaga Nasional Berhad, for which the funds are being channeled to a renewable energy fund, which is being managed by this organization called Sustainable Energy Development Authority of Malaysia, which is SEDA in short. So for those renewable energy developers, which consist of, in our country, we are divided into 5 right now. So we do have solar, we have biogas, biomass, mini hydro, and also geothermal. So these are the things, the renewable energy trust that is being utilized in Malaysia. Now obviously photovoltaic cells or solar power is the main driver of our RE in Malaysia. For geothermal, it's only available in Sabah, which is in Borneo Island. And biomass and mini hydro are not very successful at the moment. I'll explain a bit why. Biomass, they have the problem where we have quite a number of projects that did not do so well. So they are getting a bit of trouble trying to get funding for biomass projects. Whereas mini hydro tends to involve a lot of land, of which we have a big population of indigenous people. So obtaining the land and relocating the indigenous people tend to be a bit more sensitive. Hence, mini hydro is also not very prevalent. And so the RE industry in Malaysia is mostly focused on solar and also biogas. And so for biogas, we are mostly from either the palm oil mills or the landfills. So we are very jealous of Indonesia, where you have cassava and other potential waste. In Malaysia, we only look at palm oil and landfills. But even then, landfills are slightly, in the past, it's not been very well regulated. So palm oil mills tend to be the one that is still being, which is more prominent in Malaysia. Unfortunately, our animal farms are very small, and so there's literally no response or very poor response from our chicken farms and also from the other type of farms. So under the Renewable Energy Act in 2011, so this is the chart on the left, that's what it is. Under the Gas Supply Act of 1993, biogas, right now, we can inject into the natural gas grid, but it has got to be upgraded to 92.5% purity. So again, this is an access problem because the gas pipelines are only in certain places. Therefore, and as you know, palm oil mills tend to be a bit more isolated. So we do have a bit of difficulty bringing the upgraded biogas into the gas grid. Next slide, please. Yeah, so it is pretty obvious why palm oil is the main focus for our biogas. We have about 5.74 million hectares with 434 palm oil mills. Of course, it's very much less than Indonesia. Malaysia is second largest palm oil producer behind Indonesia, and Malaysia contributes about 30% on average of the crude palm oil, which is about 15% of the world's edible vegetable oils. So with that in mind, and in Malaysia, if you travel almost anywhere, you see a lot of palm trees. So therefore, palm oil tends to be the focus of the biogas industry right now. Next slide, please. Okay, there are a lot of questions, of course, about how can palm oil be a renewable energy resource. I took this article from National Geographic magazine in December 2018, and the magazine speak in detail about the palm oil industry all over the world. And of course, in this article, it focused on a country called Gabon, which is in West Africa. But it's also applicable to Indonesia and Malaysia. And next slide, next, please. Yeah, so in this article, in a nutshell, they are saying that, look, palm oil is not going to go away. The amount of palm oil that is, the amount of edible oil that can be produced from palm oil industry is about 2 times that of the other crops, right? So therefore, palm oil is really not going away. The question always then is, what can we do with the palm oil? How can we do it in a sustainable way? So palm oil is here to stay. We cannot run away from it. As long as we are cooking, as long as we are eating, as long as there are human beings, we will need oil for our food. And therefore, with the success of palm oil as an edible oil, definitely palm oil is not going to go away. And therefore, what can we do about it? Now, on the right, you can see all the names of the companies. These are the companies that have grown from producing the biogas from palm oil. Okay, some of these are my competitors, and some of them we are working together in one way or another. And so these are the companies in Malaysia right now who are participating in the feed-in tariff program in Malaysia. Next slide, please. Okay, when we look at this slide, there's obviously what we are focused in right now in my company, and of course a lot of my competitors' company. We are focused right now a lot on capturing the biogas that's generated from the palm oil mills, and also going for power generation, and we are grid connected under the FIT program. But actually, the palm oil industry has got a lot of other ways, and as Pak colleague has rightly pointed out, there are actually many opportunities that can be derived that we can use from the waste of the palm oil industry. And I think Pak colleague also touched a bit about the bio-CNG. So in Malaysia, there's only one right now that has been successfully implemented, but there are still a lot of opportunities. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm just sharing a bit of our experience. In Peninsular Malaysia alone, we have already completed more than 30 projects, all using the palm oil waste, except for one project which we did in near to Kuala Lumpur, where we did one for WTE plant. These are some of the photos of the projects that we have done. Most of our projects, we are using the covered lagoon type, where we design and build our own. And some of these projects are also invested by our company. So our long-term revenue is actually derived from the sale of electricity under the FIT program. Next slide, please. Okay, very quickly. Next, please. The photos. Yeah. So again, these are some of the photographs of the projects that we have done. We have also done a few projects in Indonesia, but they are very few. Most of it are still in Malaysia. Next slide, please. Okay, I think this is what I want to focus on. I won't speak too much on benefits because I believe most of you who are in this conference, you already understand very clearly what the benefits are for biogas. But I do want to raise one thing that is that sets us apart, biogas industry from, say, the solar industry. I always believe that, you know, if we don't do something with regards to the biogas, then we are actually allowing the biogas to permeate into our atmosphere, and that will actually help to quicken the destruction of our, with the greenhouse gas and all that. So if you don't do a solar project, the sun will still shine, but if you don't do a biogas project, then we are actually destroying the earth more. Yeah. So by doing this, also we are actually helping the palm oil industry in Malaysia and also in Indonesia, and of course the other countries in the world who are also involved in palm oil. Okay, I want to talk about these challenges and opportunities. In Malaysia, we have limited grid connectivity. I think in Indonesia it's even more profound. Pipeline also is very difficult to be interconnected. So while we have a lot of palm oil mills, with 400 palm oil mills, today, according to MPOB, we are only about 20–25% of our palm oil mills have a biogas capture facility. And the reason is not because we don't want to do the projects, but because it's not viable with regards to connectivity to the grid or connectivity to a pipeline. One of the biggest challenges, but this is slowly going away due to the successes of our company and also our competitors, is actually the poor understanding of the industry by the bankers. Unfortunately, they still correlate biogas with biomass a lot of the time, and a lot of times we have to go and tell them, no, it's not the same thing. One of as I mentioned, the palm oil mills are mostly located quite far away. So sometimes we do have difficulties getting technical expertise in the rural areas. We run these biogas plants with power generation. We definitely need people with a bit of technical skills to be able to carry out the projects. Landfills, animal farms, and other non-palm oil biogas right now is very limited potential. The potential is there, but actually it's very poorly managed or very little opportunities to derive. And the final challenge I would say is that there is news that feed-in tariff may be ending soon for Malaysia. Okay, I will go quickly to opportunities. Biogas and biomass together, since we are in the palm oil mills, we already have the biomass. This has not been fully explored. Again, I mentioned here one of the problems, the bad press about biomass. Biogas and solar PV also not explored. But of course, there are some tariff issues because in Malaysia, if you have two sources of RE, the government will only pay you the lower of the fees. So of course, solar PV is very much lower the rates. So we are having a little bit of a discussion here about this. We are thinking about doing centralized biogas stations. That means bringing together a number of palm oil mills, and also we talk about the vehicular use. But of course, our colleague has gone into quite detail about that. But unfortunately, in Malaysia, we do have a little bit of problem because our natural gas is heavily subsidized. So this is an opportunity. Yeah. Conversion of biogas to another energy form. What I meant is that if you cannot bring the biogas out, can we use the biogas at the palm oil mill and convert it to a solid fuel that we can bring? So in other words, pelletizing and all that. I think that has also been explored in the past. And finally, again, I mentioned other ways of the palm oil mills are actually not fully utilized. So we talk about the palm fronds, the trunks, and so on and so forth. I believe my time is up, so I will end here. And thank you all for your attention. Thank you for the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share a bit about Malaysia. There are a lot of things, of course, but my time is up. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Raymond Chia. Actually, you still have a few minutes left of your time.
Really, I was told I have 2 minutes, about
Okay.
15 minutes.
Yes,
It's
but
okay.
yeah, let me use this extra time to resume your several of your presentation points. It's very interesting since in Indonesia also we have a lot of quite a large palm oil plantation. So maybe later on we can discuss on how to develop the biogas and the biogas technology from the palm oil waste and resource. And what's also interesting is that in Malaysia you have a special authority uh, that handle and manage the renewable energy fund, and I think that's a very good thing also. Okay, so we will have a further discussion later, but before
Sure.
that, I'd like to move on to the next speaker, Pruk Anggaransi PhD from Chiang Mai University in Thailand. Dr. Pruk is a director of the Energy Research and Development Institute. Are you ready, Dr. Pruk? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you have 20 minutes. Please, the time is yours.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Chairman. And good evening to our colleagues in Southeast Asia, and good morning for the colleagues from South America as well. Thank you for having me here. Next slide, please. Yes. So I work for Chiang Mai University, which is located in the northern parts of Thailand. We are really focused on the research and development in sustainable goals related. So biogas and renewable energies are typically has been one of the main topics that we are quite strong and focused on. Next slide, please. And just a quick introduction. At our research center, we are specialized in biogas. Of course, it's methane capturing from any waste or wastewater to produce renewable energy, just like Mr. Chair has shared with us earlier. And of course, biomass in terms of thermal conversion of biomass and energy management. Okay, so these topics are strongly related to Sustainable Development Goals of the UN, especially affordable clean energy and climate action. So as we know, next please. So talking about Thailand, Thailand has implemented so-called Alternative Energy Development Plan. It's been installed in 2015, being revised once during the past 2 years, but it's yet to officially implemented. But we can almost always say the goal is 30% of renewable energy share by 2036. That's quite an aggressive goal. And next slide, please. If we focus on biomass and in our case, biogas as well, we are focusing on biogas from waste of about 600 megawatts. And on top of those, actually the plan also states that energy crops will be one of the interesting inputs, additional input for the biogas sectors. Next slide, please. Yes, so how far have we been doing? In Thailand, currently, as of the end of 2020, or almost the end of 2020, the renewable energy share is about 15%. It's actually reduced from the previous year because of the COVID and consumption and everything. But anyway, we are running around 15-16% for the past 2 years. And in terms of biogas itself, from the target that we mentioned, in total 1,280 megawatts currently, counting only the power plants that is being sold back to electricity grid, is around 554 megawatts as of November of last year. And most of that are from wastewater from either palm oil mills, tapioca factories, or ethanol waste, or other food processing waste, and of course including agriculture farms and industries. Next slide, please. And this is the reason why Thailand has been so we can almost always say the jump start of the biogas development from the year 2000 up to 2017, or even last year. So as similar to Malaysia, Thailand or Thai government has been collected tax money from, in Thailand cases, from the fuel station or gasoline tax to have a renewable energy funds or energy conservation funds, and these funds can be used to directly subsidize or support development of any renewable energy projects or energy management projects. So we have been involved with the Thai government from 2000s, and if you can see the light blue bar, this is the amount of injected money into the investment, and it's in terms of million of Thai baht, meaning per each year the government is supported during 2002 until 2013 in general. They are putting in money in terms of 100 up to 200 million Thai baht directly to the investors. So that's really helped boosting the biogas developments. And the dark blue line showing the biogas capture is not the number of plants, but it's the total amount of biogas captured or methane captured and utilized as electricity or heat. And it's being really aggressively increased up to the year 2017. And after 2017, that's where the graph ends, meaning the government stopped putting money directly into the investor hands. But on the other hand, the Thai government start to enforce the regulations, meaning in Thailand, generally biogas are more or less common practice for either if you want to set up a farms, either swine farm, cow, dairy farms, or chicken farm or egg farms, waste treatment is always has to be attached to the permit. You have to really declare the way of treatment before getting the permit. So it's enforcement on one hand. On the other hand, also the industries involving palm oil mills or starch factory or other food processing or secondary food processing factories, they also have to submit their waste management plan. And from the past experience that the government has supported biogas, there's so many successful models to learn from. So that means people can really learn from the past experience that biogas is one of the most effective way of doing waste management. So generally, in Thailand, government stopped paying you money to build biogas, but right now they're forcing you to do biogas if you want to do other business. So if you look at the map on the right side, so it's the distribution of the biogas plant in Thailand. So basically, it's a huge distribution. We can generally count about 2,000 biogas plants. All of these are medium to to large sizing scale. One of the picture on the lower left is one of the largest agricultural waste to energy project located west of Bangkok. This plant is being fed with chicken manure from 8 farms in together with energy crops, and altogether they're producing 6 megawatt of electricity, generating and sell back to the electricity grid. Next slide, please. So in general, if we separate the 2 maps in the middle and in the right, the maps on the right are how the biogas from livestock farm are distributed, and the one in the middle is the biogas from agricultural waste, meaning palm oil mills. If you look at the blue dots, they are palm oil mills. They are very focused and intense in the southern part of Thailand, where the northeastern or the central part of Thailand, there are something else. For example, tapioca starch or ethanol plants or other kind of food processing. So the distribution are really based on the agriculture production in the facility, in the area. Next slide, please. So that means in Thailand, we have generally quite a far development, a long development of biogas technology. If you look at something in the middle, in the year 2005, we start working a lot with palm oil mills, sugar factories, starch factories. And from 2010 to 2015, the government has put in a big chunk of money again into palm oil mills and sugar factory, starch factory to start building biogas. So there's a big development in both biogas economy, ecosystem, and technology. So that means in Thailand right now, we can easily find a reference size, generally from 1 megawatt to 2 megawatt or 3 or even 6 megawatt of waste to energy from biogas. On the farm sizing scale, we can also say that the development is quite progressive. From the year 1990, GIZ has helped us initially to set up the first biogas plant in Thailand, and then so far 30 years passed, and right now biogas for farms are common practice. The community will not allow you to set up a farm if you do not submit the biogas drawing together to get permits. That's basically common practice right now. So so in general, in Thailand, about 80% of the industry that has organic wastewater, they already equipped with a biogas. So our focus here in 2020 is basically focusing on solid waste or municipal solid waste organic conversions. Next slide, please. And also just beginning of, for the past year or two, Thailand start talking about community power plants, meaning we are running out of wastewater. All the wastewater that is available for biogas production, they're already captured and produced. So we are following closely with the German footstep, meaning Thailand will start focusing on energy crops. So the energy crops collect from farmers will help distribute revenue to the farmers, and it helps building a sustainable community. So that's the whole area of thinking. Next slide, please. Yeah, so a community power plant is the topic that is quite so-called a hot topic right now, especially this month. About 75 megawatts of permits will be announced to be applied for new power plants using energy crops. So this is the period where investors are preparing their proposal to submit to energy regulatory commissions to get that permit, and the permits clearly regulate that the community power plant have to buy energy crops from the farms or from the farmers around the area. So you have to submit this application together, investor and farmers or farmer cooperatives all together to get that permit. So it's a big idea that's being generated, and 75 megawatts will be awarded by the middle of this year. So it's a big start for Thailand. Next slide, please. So in conclusion about Thailand technology that we have developed, of course, we have help from many friends, especially from Germany, in terms of supplying good equipment and technology. We have many good partners. But in general, in Thailand, the development, a local development for biogas plant that is suitable for example, Southeast Asia, are quite unique, and we believe it can be exported or being utilized to help our friends in the area. In the meantime, as we speak, I myself and many Thai consulting company are helping consultant company or engineering company in Malaysia, the Philippines, and of course in Indonesia to develop biogas projects. Many projects are being supported by Thai company. So I think we are here to share experience that we have learned from the past 10 or 20 years. Next slide, please. Okay, so basically, this is why biogas are being used as a energy management. Next slide, please. Yes, the main idea of the Thai government enforcing people in the agriculture ecosystem and waste ecosystem is that biogas has one of the unique proposition in nutrient conservation as well. This is the main selling point, that biogas from energy crops are more sustainable than energy crops being burned in thermal conversions. So this is a big discussion in Thailand. This is why we have this so-called community power plant coming up. And it also helps create jobs and of course get rid of poverty and build sustainable community. Next, please. Next, please. Yes. Oh, okay, you can. Yeah, please. So why are we focusing on energy crops right now? Because in Asian country, especially Southeast Asia, we have a very good climate, meaning wheat plantation like grass or king grass can grow very fast, and the mass yield is very high. And Thailand and of course Malaysia, Indonesia do not have water problems. We have the opposite problem, too much water in some area. So that is a way to be able to build a continuous revenue to community. And biogas is being a center of this idea. So biogas can be used to develop the area that is being cannot be developed using other occupations. On the other hand, on the technology side, biogas is talked about in terms of firm and semi-firm energy supply. So this is the topic that people often miss, especially when you try to compare biogas with solar and try to again compare the direct tariff producing energy as per kilowatt hour from solar to compare with biogas. Maybe the cost of producing biogas energy are more because we have inputs and we have to buy substrate from the farmers. But on the other hand, the biogas are firm supply, meaning as as the grid operator, you are more sustainable, more stable, connected to a biogas power plant compared to a big solar farms. And that's a big chunk of ideas to move on in the policy level as well. Next slide, please. And just for the few, next slide, please. Just for a quick few questions, a few slides. We are trying to show what we are doing as a showcase. Before we talk about biogas, we have to mention about smart energy or smart grid first. If you have smart grid, meaning you know exactly what the consumption, what time the consumptions are, what time the solar panels are generating, then coupling with a biogas system will be very, very efficient in terms of supplying electricity when the solar is not generating. So that's the big idea that we are trying out for the whole campus. We are relying on this system right now for Chiang Mai University campus. So that's the big idea. So we are aiming on campus to have 50% renewable energy share in the next few years. Next, please. Next, please. And one of the biogas plant that we installed, this one is on campus, is the biogas from solid waste. Meaning it's the municipal waste generated from food waste from canteen or general waste from the garbage bins. So we have sorting equipment and dry fermentation reactor, anaerobic reactor. And together we generate about 30 kilograms of CBG to feed with the vehicles, together with 100 kilowatt of biogas genset in this facility. So we use this facility to also teach and demonstrate, and as well as take care of the whole campus general waste. Next, please.
2 more minutes. Thank you.
Yes, sure. Just 1 minute. This one is one of the example that we share with the we sell the upgraded biogas to PTT gas stations or natural gas for vehicle station. We buy a raw gas from palm oil mills, upgrade it, compress it, and deliver using the trucks seeing in the upper right to the gas station. This one is the commercial side, and the flow rate is about 500 cubic meter per hour. So this one is also doable in Thailand. Next, please. And also gas grid, we can just skip this one. And I think that's the end of my slide. So thank you very much. And I'm very happy to answer any questions.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Brook, or I should call you Achan Brook, for sharing with us the biogas development in Thailand and also the community biogas in the CMU campus. That's very interesting. I think Indonesian universities can look up to your campus for this type of innovation. And for the previous speakers, there are several questions on the chat box. If you want to respond to that, you can write it down your answers on the chat box. While I would like to invite our next speaker from Argentina, agriculture engineer Jorge Hilbert. Are you ready, Jorge?
Yes,
Okay.
Here we are.
Yes, please, the time
Thank
is
you.
yours.
Thank you for inviting us to bring you some experience we have in biogas technology in this very different context of South America and the particularities of our different agriculture systems here in Argentina. Okay, next. Okay, I belong to the National Institute of Agricultural Technology. It's a broad organization that covers extension and research on agriculture, covering the whole country with more than 50 experimental stations covering the whole country. We are 7,000 people working on INTA, and we have a special program on renewable energy and biogas, also covering different research areas and different agroecosystems along the country. Next. Okay, regarding the general framework of renewable energy, there are two main laws that that were enforced in the country. One is related to biofuels as a whole, especially biodiesel, bioethanol, and also biomethane, although biomethane hasn't developed yet too much in the country. The original target was 7% and 9% of blending, and now we are in 12%, and this law is fading up this year, and we are pushing to make an update of this law. And the other big legal framework is the one related to renewable electricity. We have a target of 8% of renewable electricity for 2024. And so I'm going to show some actions that were done according to that law in order to promote biogas production in the country. Next. Okay, this is some of the I bring you here some of the context relating the potential the national map of biogas potential that is related to a national program called Biomasa that's centered in the Ministry of Agriculture and covers the whole country, as you see there, especially related with dairy farms. That's the first map. The other ones are feedlots. The third one are pork industry. Just to show you three of the maps. Most of the production is centered in the central plains of Argentina. We have a huge country, but a lot of desertic areas, especially in the south and in the west of the country. But there are the conclusion is that there are plenty of feedstuff of coming from agriculture and from agro-industrial transformation of food production industry in the different provinces of the country. Next, please. Okay, one of the challenges that was mentioned also with my previous colleagues talking this afternoon there in Indonesia. We are a huge country. Now that you put in the same size Argentina over Europe, and you can see the enormous challenge to transport energy sites. So that's also has always been the big issue relating to the electric network in the country and also the gas network in the country, and also, as you saw before, the concentration of the biomass in certain areas. Next, please. Okay, this is an analysis we made on the principal farming problems in Argentina and how biogas technology can help to cover some of these issues, as energy deficit, as nutrition deficit of soils. We have an increase in water cycles. We have weed resistance, justice margins. We have problem with organic matter, with pollution of water, and also, of course, the greenhouse emissions. So here we are focusing on biogas technology as a broad concept of biogas done right, not only looking at the energy side of the technology, but also looking at the side effects of the technology that we promote. Next, please. Okay, then completely different from what we saw in Asian countries. We have a very extensive agriculture, and one of the characteristics of our agriculture is that 93% of the surface is done under no tillage. No, we don't turn the soil, so we need to work biogas technology in a no-till agriculture with increasing precision agriculture technology use. No, that's a great challenge for digestate use and how it's applied to soil without disturbing too much the soil and interrupting the no-tillage cycle, because that has an enormous impact in the water footprint and in the carbon footprint of the whole production of mainly corn, soybeans, and sunflower and wheat. Those are the main crops, extensive crops of Argentina. Next, please. So we see biogas in a complex and multiple interactions, no, that are always mixing together, no, as the national regulation, the international regulations, the agrochemicals supplies, the environmental uses, the good practice of agriculture. We have a huge program of good practices, and also biogas has to enter this system. Next, please. Okay, it's difficult to. Okay, in the last administration, a new program was put in place in Argentina, promoting biogas technologies. These are some of the pictures we can see now on different parts of the main agriculture area. There are focus on different types of feedstocks. There is no much use of energy crops, since the economy of energy crops doesn't sustain a suitable price of electricity being produced on these types of lands. Regarding the technology use, most of the plants are European technology, but with experience of some years of experience in the field, local companies are beginning to enlarge the participation of local engineering, local constructions, and parts of the plants, mainly the digesters themselves, the piping, the electricity parts of the control systems. Next, please. So there we can see the last government program, Renovar. It ran from 2016 to 2019, sorry, with 52 new biogas plants being placed and injecting electricity into the grid with a feed-in tariff. There were different calls for new products. In total, there were 3 calls with a good system of back backup security, since unfortunately Argentina has a very shifting national policy, so investors needed an extra assurance to make sure the plants will continue running for the period to recover the investment. Next, please. Okay, some of the plants were constructed in a circular economy concept. So I wanted to highlight this in the presentation. We are looking here at a biogas plant with a farm that produces 13,000 tons of corn every year. It has a mini DEST, that's a mini bioethanol plant. That's an Argentine technology that several plants have been installed in farm. It has a production of 5,000 liters of ethanol per day. So beside that is a feedlot. We have, look here, 3,000 animals, feedlot with 9,500 heads per year. So the digester is fed from the feedlot residues and also from the thin silage coming from the small bioethanol plant that is remotely controlled in order to be able to have such a complex in a farm. So that's why we are looking at a very promising situation here. We have three farms that are in this system. So they produce feed for the animals from the distillery called DGS or WDGS. They produce electricity, they produce heat, and they obtain a complete treatment of all the residues. Next, please. Okay, that's another type of plants. This is national technology biogas, where it's placed on a typical farm of meat production in feedlot. So all the residues coming from the feedlot are processed in the biogas plant and producing electricity, mainly electricity, as one of the outputs of the plant. Next, please. Here I wanted to show the impact of biogas plant. We as a group are involved in greenhouse gas calculations and certification of different biofuel products, mainly for export and for the internal market. And what we are seeing here is that the introduction of the biogas system within the distillery produces an increase in the greenhouse reductions. You see it in red there, from 57% to 67% of greenhouse reductions compared with fossil fuel, and this gives an opportunity for the plant to export to the European Union, as an example. Next, please. Ways that farmers are adopting biogas systems. No, I bring you here the different ways farmers are introducing into this technology: through cooperative systems, small and large, through association of group of farmers investing in agro-industrial transformation of grains, through project developers linked to recent feed-in tariff electric incentives. There are new tools as blockchain and energy certificate credits being in place. That's very, very new. And also we have independent big farmers. Next, please. Okay, regarding 4 minutes.
5.
Okay, 5 minutes. Okay. Regarding the compressed natural gas and liquid natural gas, we have also a local company that has developed the whole system. Presently, it's being used for mainly fossil methane, but technology is there, is available, and they are willing to introduce this technology into the biogas sector. Next, please. The new challenges regarding the environmental studies. INTA is performing LCA studies over commercial plants, learning on the integration of biogas plants in different types of agro-industrial sites as bioethanol, biorefineries. We highlight here the importance of the synergy in order to reduce emissions and improve the carbon footprints, the intelligent use of energy and reduction of methane emissions of the residues. Next, please. Here we are looking at the life cycle assessment of biogas plants, and what I want to highlight here is the importance to use the whole different outputs of the plant. Now, if you are only using the electricity of biogas plants, we can reach 61% of greenhouse reductions. But if you add the thermal and the combined thermal and electric, we can surpass the 80% of greenhouse reductions. And we are trying to improve the systems in order to make the integration, the thermal integration, not only the electric integration into the complex, in order to improve the outcomes of the environmental studies. Next, please. The energy return rate is also impacted by the way energy is used, going from 3.5 to nearly 6 times of energy produced per energy being used. That's another important issue we always highlight, especially that we foresee that feed-in tariffs in biogas systems are going to go down. This is a phenomenon that is occurring already in Europe, and we are learning from their experience in order to foresee a long-term sustainability of the projects, not only hanging from a high feed-in tariff electricity price. Next, please. We're also looking at the carbon cycle. This is the map of the carbon capture possibility. This is a huge market that is growing all the world around. So we see it as a new possibility for biogas systems in the country. How recycling the digestate and introducing cover crops, we can improve the organic matter in soils and capture greenhouse gas on the soils. Next, please. This is the latest protocol of measuring and reporting. It was developed last year by an Argentine group, and it's adopted by the United Nations now in order to have a protocol to measure, report, and verify the increase in soil organic matter. Next, please. The actual stage, I always say we are in a fire, no, and some countries as mine are in a worse situation. So presently, government actions are concentrated on immediate relief on the poor sectors of the population. So we have renewable energy policies practically in a standby situation, no, and we are presently having strong finances difficulties to proceed, and with high inflation and currency depreciation. So we are in a very particular time, and looking at the positive trends, we see environmental requirements from import markets as a new force, no. Also, all this carbon market is another positive force. Corporative environmental policies of international companies is also pushing, and action supported by provincial and local government in legislation and incentives. Next, please.
I think your time is up, Jorge.
Okay, just to mention the different partnerships and projects we are involved. Apart from DiBiCoo, we are co-chairing the Global Methane Initiative. We invite you to get into the website and see all the opportunities, because it's a global initiative promoting biogas all over the world, and with our goal to reduce methane emissions globally. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Jorge. Muchas gracias too. Thank you for sharing with us the biogas development in Argentina very early of your time. It's very early in the morning, I think. So yeah, it's very interesting that Argentina is a very large country, so you have a very enormous land resource to develop a very large biogas installation and power plant. Okay, so I'd like to remind you to check the chat box for the speakers. If there's some questions from you, you can respond it directly in the chat box. And I also would like to invite our last speakers, Mr. Alexis Zesepins and Mr. Vitalis Komashilovs from Latvia University of Life Science and Technologies. Both of them is going to introduce a platform. I think, they develop, they call it a DiBiCoo matchmaking tool. So whenever you're ready,
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you for introduction. I hope you see our screen.
Yes.
So basically we will share it by ourselves. Yes, thank you for introduction and inviting us to this interesting workshop and seminar related to the biogas development in the emerging economies. But I would like to emphasize that we both are not from the biogas sector, but we are from the information technologies. And our presentation will be slightly different from the previous ones, because we will not speak about the biogas development and some lessons learned, but we will present the digital platforms that is still in the development process, but some interesting features are already developed. So basically, we are also participating in the DiBiCoo project that was fastly presented by the Johannes Anhorn during the introduction session. And our main task is to develop the digital platform to facilitate convenient networking and matchmaking between actors of exporting and importing markets for biogas technologies. That was already mentioned in some previous presentations, that for successful biogas plant development and implementation, good cooperation between importing and exporting countries is needed. That's why this platform will facilitate such kind of matchmaking. Basically, for now, the platform is meant as a database of industrial actors or companies that can freely register their company profiles and present their profiles. And basically, it's also enable relevant business partner identification, present some available technologies, and in the future, it will act as an advisory and networking service. Of course, some interesting features will be implemented in the future, like semi-automated guidance solution and automated matchmaking between the stakeholders. So now I would like to tell some word about the development process of the platform, but we will not go into the deep information technology topic, as you mainly are from the biogas sector. So basically, we would like to describe the development process in more general form. So basically, we choose the iterative and agile process of the development. That means that we are closely cooperating with end users, stakeholders, and also other project partners for the requirements and definitions of the platforms. And at the time the definitions are defined, we're trying to fastly implement them into the platform and show how it's look like. And then it goes into the cycle process. As well, user interface is very important part of the development, like choose of button or other interface elements is very important, because platforms should be intuitive and user friendly at the end. After the development, the platform will be open source and of course public, so everyone will be able to access, test, and use it fully for free. Here at this slide at the bottom, you can see the link for the platform. So basically we invite all of you after the seminar to look at it, maybe to test some features. And of course, you can come back with your response and feedback to us directly, or you can inform or write to RDI about some suggestions how the platform can be improved in the future. As well, I would like to mention that this address will be changed in the near future to be more concise and precise, that it will not be too long. So basically now I would like to speak about some user roles in the platform. Basically, as I mentioned previously, it will be public and available for everyone. So basically, without any authorization, any user visiting the platform can make some actions in the platform. Basically, anonymous user functions are limited to exploring or searching for information or browsing for information. So anonymous user will be able to look at the company profiles, at the business opportunities, read some knowledge base, and of course, authenticate for the system. And then authenticated user will have some more personalized features in the platform. I think Vitalis will speak about this future. And of course, platform administrator, as usual, have some administrative features of the platform, like reviewing company profile, business application, and management of some company relevant categories. And in our future presentation, we will go through several user journeys comparing functionality of anonymous users mentioned previously and authenticate user journeys. Administrators features will not be covered within this presentation because it's really limited to several responsible persons within the DiBiCoo project. So this slide shows front page of the platform that this is evolved during the DiBiCoo project. So basically it demonstrates three main sections of the platform. It's a company profiles, it's a business opportunities and knowledge base. And so each section have its own specific information. So if it's needed, user can join the platform by logging in or sign up to the platform. Basically, it's used the third-party service called Auth0 for authentication. And here you can see the list of possible menu options or menu features of the platforms. Now I would like to give a floor to Vitalis to go through these sections.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, one of the first features of the platform is a catalog of the companies over globally over the world who are providing some services or maybe selling some components to for the building biogas stations. And within this section, we can browse this catalog of the companies. By these companies are divided into several like categories. Yeah, in this case on the screen you see the categories related to anaerobic digestion, and deeper within these like folders we have more subcategories for, let's say, pump producers, or maybe dry digestion like turnkey providers, and etc. So basically it's kind of a browsing files within the catalog and finding what is like relevant for you. This like browsing supports also several options of like ordering these companies by name, by maybe update time, and also it's possible to find a particular company by the name if, let's say, you know what are you looking for. And basically the idea is that each of these like company profiles are presented within this list, and you can get a list, not list, but you can get details about the company. So basically brief description of the company, brief description of company profile, basically what company is doing. Of course, you can get a contacts for the company, which is an essential part of this like platform. So basically you can reach the company and you can like start the contact and start building this cooperation. Another feature of the platform is a more advanced way of finding the companies. So basically it's a so-called matchmaking, when you have your needs and you can express these needs in particular like filters or options. What are you looking for? And basically here we have several options implemented right now. Let's say we can find the companies for particular business field. For example, we are looking only for turnkey providers, or maybe we are looking for pump producers. We can specify from where the company is coming from, maybe from region, or maybe we want to work only with a particular country. The same we can specify in which countries these companies are have a projects implemented. So basically it's a project region and project country. For example, let's say we want to cooperate with a company who already has some experience in working in your countries, and it's a viable option to enter here and see the list of companies participating in your country. Yeah, and the idea is quite the same, that the list of companies is kind of presented, and you can get the details about these companies. Also, yeah, so here is with the options. Another feature which was kind of widely requested by stakeholders was the opportunity to show the companies on the global map. And here we have these companies are kind of encoded in different colors. So basically the green, the blue, these markers are for anaerobic digestion companies, and the green markers are for gasification companies. And we have also the combinations where companies are working on both fields. And the same it goes for the these key projects, and so basically these key projects are shown in red. And for now, you see the majority of these markers are within the Europe, and the reason of it is because companies are not this platform is not widely advertised yet, yeah, and these companies are just imported from our survey stakeholders. But technically nobody, basically it's not restricted to Europe only. So basically we have a couple of companies already from Argentina and from Ghana, I think, and also from South Africa, but it's not shown here yet. Basically, yeah, it's a global map, and if you register your company within the platforms, then definitely there is a possibility to be shown on the map. Shortly, that's it about the companies, like part of the platform. Another part which is currently very actively, we are currently actively developing and changing it, is a business opportunities section. So basically, it's a marketplace for countries willing to import some technologies or services. And the idea is that it's kind of advertisements for publishing your needs, and then the partners from like companies willing to cooperate for such a needs is a kind of has opportunities to read it. And basically, it's a reverse like this matchmaking direction compared to companies. So basically, when companies are presenting their profiles, they are kind of hoping that somebody will reach them and speak about business opportunities. And this section is vice versa. When you have a need and you publish your need, and basically companies are reaching you and providing some like offers. Yeah, but as I said, this section is in active development, that it will change in the next few weeks. So we won't show the screenshots yet, because it's about to change a lot. And the third section is a kind of a knowledge base. Basically, it's a materials to read through, and several, I think, hundreds of links to interesting literature sources and useful information and description of technologies, different fact sheets about how these technologies can be used. And basically, it's a read-only source of information aggregated in one place. Yeah, so far we covered the options which are available for everybody, it's publicly available. But if user wants to join the platform and actively participate in the content of this platform, so again, everybody, we are not restricting countries or any payments. So basically, users can join the platform via this button, or maybe login, sign up on the upper corner, and you will be redirected to additional service which provides options to log in with a social network, in this case through the Google account, or if you will, you can sign up with your custom email, your custom password. And basically, the idea is that when you are already not anonymous user, but you are authenticated user, then you have much more options how to participate in this platform. And one of such options is to register your company profile. So basically, users can add a company, and you will be guided through the company profile wizard, where several questions about your company will be asked. And when you are like you have filled in all this information about your company, the company will be published within the platform again among all other companies. Yeah, so that's a good option to kind of tell basically to publish information about your company and to let everybody else to know that you are present like in your country. The same goes about these business opportunities, where you have some need for a service or maybe some component. And so basically you can publish very similar way through the wizard. You can publish your like business proposal or maybe business opportunity. And then everybody else will be able to see it and reach you. And of course, the main information which is essential for this is providing your contact information, basically how others can reach you. In addition, if you have created your company profile, it can be shared with other like managers who will be able to maintain this company profile. So basically, if you are if you have a lot of people working within the company, we are not restricting that you are the only person who is kind of managing this company profile, so you can share it, and then you are kind of, these users are maintaining these company profiles in a shared manner. So that's another feature we have. And yeah, and about this platform current state, so basically currently it's in active testing phase. It's done by, no, as I said, it's not widely advertised yet, but it's tested by selected stakeholders from our project. Yeah, and the idea is that we have prepared several, like no, not the tasks, but maybe ideas what user can do within the platform. And so basically we are proposing it to the user, and if user is following these proposals, he can, like later on, can send the feedback to us, what was good, what was missing maybe. And yeah, we are collecting this feedback via emails. We have a special survey for it, or maybe we can even have an individual online conversation. So we are open for it. And yeah, as I said, currently it's a like evaluation phase. Soon it will be widely published. But if you have a wish to participate in it right now in early stage, you are very welcome to reach us, and then we will provide you all the information needed. So basically you will be another selected stakeholder who is participating in this first evaluation of the platform. And I think shortly that's it from our side. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, I think you can write them in chat, or you can write to our emails. We will be happy to answer you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Vitalis and Alexis, for your introduction to the DiBiCoo matchmaking tool platform. I think this is an important platform to channel the companies that want to develop biogas installation in order to meet with other businesses that provide the biogas related service and around the world. And yeah, so I think this is the time to have a discussion. The operator and the organizer will put the speakers and the participants into the breakout room. And I think they also have noted the questions in the chat box in order for the speakers to respond it in the breakout room. Yes. Can the
Yeah, we are the first one to return.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We apologize that Bu Niken, our previous moderator, cannot continue her moderation due to another urgent agenda. So I'm Iksan. I will take the role as moderator from now on until the end of the event. So we say thank you for all participants and speakers for the discussion in the breakout room. Now we have arrived at the closing of the workshop. We would like to hear a short closing statement from all our speakers. It could be a lesson or message or any other impression of our biogas workshop that can be taken by the participants home. To begin this, we would like to hear a closing statement from Mr. Abdul Khalik. The floor is yours.
First of all, I would like to thank you all, the presenter and participants from all over the world. And the closing remark from me is that the biogas potential in Indonesia especially is so huge, so large, so big that someone would like to do business in this area. The potential so big, and we need more effort to promote to the implementation of the biogas technology fast. We are facing some problems, some barrier, and so on, but we are optimistic for the future of the biogas technology. We hope that biogas technology will have a good position, a good contribution, such as like the biogas technology in other countries, like in Europe, in China, in India, and so on. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abdul Khalik. Next, it would be lovely to hear another closing statement from Mr. Raymond Shea. The time is yours.
Thank you once again to the organizers. I think you guys have done a good job getting a whole range of people from all over the world. My closing statement would be just this. As I mentioned in my breakout group, a lot of the times we have this type of conferences, we tend to find it very difficult to get the financial institutions or the banks to participate. So actually they miss out on so much of information, and so they are not able to understand, the pains of our organization or our industry. And so if they can attend this kind of conferences, they can actually they will actually be able to know more about what's going on, and we can share our the bankers may have their way of looking at things. So I want to encourage that in future, if we can have, I'm sure we'll have many more, that we can also get the financial institute to actually participate and to listen to us and see the opportunities that are available. So that would be my closing statement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Raymond. Next, we would like to hear another closing statement from Mr. Prok Anggarangsi. The time is yours.
Oh, thank you. So thank you for the participants for being here with us this afternoon. I think we got quite a bit of very useful information, and it's fun for me to be here. So maybe if I can just have a quick word. I think the biogas technology is quite well developed as we speak. It's not that much troublesome. It needs, of course, I wouldn't call it easy, but I think it's time to really adopt it and move on with it. And of course, financial from aspect from Lemon is definitely important. I believe it is knowledge that bring people forward. If possible, the organizer should you educate the bank too on the next sessions, if you can. I think good to be here, and let's move on. It's good for the world.
Thank you, Mr. Brook. So now we would like to hear another closing statement from Mr. Jorge Hilbert. The floor is yours.
Okay. First of all, thank you for letting us participate, and we learn a lot, and we really happily surprised of the development and spreading of the technology in different countries that were presented today. I see as a challenge we have now is to incorporate this biogas framework into the national strategies of the countries, the NDCs that are being developed and will be presented this year in the COP meeting in UK. We are working in the Global Methane Initiative to promote that. We invite you to come with us, and we are also working with the World Biogas Association in order to get us a broader view and promote biogas also into the financial sector and all this huge new market of the green bonds that are growing and green investments and so on. I think biogas has an enormous opportunity. There is a lot of insight here, and we look forward for a future. I am completely agree with that. We have a very mature technology now in order to offer different types of farms of our agri-industry and cities now. Technology coming from everywhere, not only from one side. So I look forward for all this perspective, and I invite you to join efforts and also promote the what we are doing in each of the country, but this synergize the movement along the whole world. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Jorge. So now let's us listen to a closing statement from LLU team, Alexis Zasopin and Vitalis Komasilov. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So also thank you from our side for inviting us to such interesting seminar. I think for us it was very educational, that we find and learned many stuff about biogas and biogas development in the emerging economies. Maybe as a closing statement from our side will be, we really hope that the DiBiCoo projects that we are participating in, these digital platforms that will be developed within the project, will really facilitate and build up a new collaboration within these both sides of importing and exporting countries to further develop these biogas markets in the future.
Yeah, also thanks from my side for a nice workshop. And I would say that we have a quite different countries all around the world and different needs and different conditions. And one of the challenges I see is to find this personal approach to each of the case and to find the best solution for the country. But from other hand, it's a good opportunities to make it happen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for all speakers. So now we come to an end of our event. On behalf of RDI team, I would like to thank you to to Pak Trois from Ministry of Energy and Mineral of Republic of Indonesia, and also the Pak Johannes from GIZ for their welcoming remarks. And also huge thanks to all speakers, Mr. Abdul Kolik, Mr. Raymond Chia, Mr. Brooke Agarangsi, Mr. Jorge Hilbert, Mr. Alexis Zachepin, and Mr. Vitalis Komasilovs for your time and effort to prepare all the materials for the presentations. For Mr. Raymond and for Mr. Raymond and Dr. Brooke, we also thanks for the challenge that you have mentioned. As a matter of fact, the second series of the workshop will touch upon the financial sector of the biogas plant. So you are most welcome to be involved. Yeah. So in this workshop, we have taken several important notes on biogas development in the emerging economies, including Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Argentina. One of the notes is that there are still many aspects that needs to be improved if we want to accelerate the biogas utilization in our country. All stakeholders from governments, private sectors, research organizations, university, NGOs, and financial institutions have to come together to create a change in our renewable energy market and business ecosystem. Also, we have been introduced to biogas matchmaking tools by the LLU team. Once the platform is ready, then we can use it to match the technology seeker and the technology provider for biogas development. These matchmaking tools together with this biogas workshop today are part of the DiBiCoo project in Indonesia. Before we close, we also would like to introduce our next event, which is the capacity building. This event will be held on April 14 and 15, 2021. The topics for the capacity buildings are shown in your screen. Next. That you can choose once you have registered. This capacity buildings is free and open for public. We will update you about this capacity building via email later on. So anyone interested can register. That's all our activities in today's workshop. We thank you for our participation. Goodbye and see you next time.
Thank you all. Sorry, it's
bye. Thank you.
It's a long workshop. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Terima kasih Pak Ivan Alfandi sudah bergabung.
Schöne Grüße nach Deutschland.
Ya, terima kasih banyak.
Thank you.
Sampai jumpa di
semua.
atau Malaysia.
Terima kasih semuanya.
So yeah, Raymond. Bye-bye. Oh, okay. Bye.